everyone, I'm making a vlog because I'm trying to set a habit to basically do a lot of vlogging and documenting of this thing that I'm working on with my mum, and I thought I would make a video just to ease myself into it because it's a bit awkward, and I just literally bought like an Amazon tripod and ring light, and I don't even know what, so the lighting is like all off and the positioning, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, this is just to document like a journey that I'm going on in my free time with my mum and her artwork.
That's so pretty, Mama.
Roses, just looking at a close study of roses.
I love it.
So I took a little like photo of it, like a, of the other one, like a reprographic thing.
A reprographic, that is an old ancient term for photos.
This is by Macintosh, who was an artist.
That was March 88. Whoa.
Oh my gosh. And that was like, Macintosh was like 1910. He used to do similar kind of paintings and drawings.
That is so good. I love the watercolory colours.
This was sort of inspired by Art Deco, and I was like looking at a lot of rug designs.
This video is all about how you could potentially digitize it. So we're doing a lot of research for like a couple of months, and maybe in my head for like over a year. But my mum basically has a really great portfolio of work that has been kept in a portfolio which is right there. I brought it back with me, and I've been researching the best way to digitize it, and there's a couple of options. And when I was researching this, I didn't really find a video that went through all the options and like how someone came to choose one of them. So I've now got to a decision on like how I'm going to do it, and I thought this might be helpful for anyone who is interested in this. If not, feel free to keep scrolling. So essentially I want to preserve my mum's artwork that she's had since the 80s, since her days in art school, and it's literally been in a portfolio under her bed, and we like cleaned it up, and we just went through each one. I've always loved her art, like obviously she is so talented, mashallah. So anyway, there's 4 options that I was contemplating, and I did a lot of research and like trawling through Reddit. I even posted on Reddit and like basically talked to a lot of people on how to do this, and I saw a lot of YouTube videos as well on different options, but they usually always went with like the scanning option. So that's actually, to cut the long story short, I've actually chosen that option as well, but I'm going to go through all of them because I do think it depends on lots of things. So option 1 is you scan your artwork in, and then there's 2 options of how to do that. So you can either buy your own scanner, or the best way to scan a bulk set of work that you then just want to have digitized and you're not really going to do any more is then going to like a professional place. Depending on the price, you get charged by the size of the print, whether it's like A4 or A3, or you get charged by how HD or like detailed you want it. I think the measurement that people use in like scanning and printing is DPI. Now that does have a con, which is it's expensive. If you have lots of pieces, you have to find a good place, and that might not be local to you. So where I'm based, like there are some places, but it would require like traveling, and then every time I'd have a new piece that my mum would do, and I'd have to like go again. So that kind of put me off. And then also you can't control it as much. Like you kind of give them the batch and then you come back and collect it. Like you can't really do a lot of the positioning that you would if you had your own scanner. So that's the other option, is buying your own scanner, which obviously is more of an investment in terms of price up front, but that's kind of the only con, I think. You can even get like really like industrial scale ones where the DPI is like really good. I will say though that there is like a bliss point, because the higher like the DPI you do, like the longer it takes to render it. And when you're editing it in Photoshop, if you want to, that is like so slow to use, because you've got such a HD pic and you kind of don't really need that unless like it's going to be blown up to a huge scale. So I think out of the scanning option, you are better off buying a scanner because you don't have to go to the digital scale. You can get like budget ones, and that is a whole other section which I'll come on to in a second. So that's the scanning option. The second one, which I didn't really realise people did, is they just take a photo of the artwork. So let's say the artwork is like an A4 piece with like some flowers on it. You'd get like a good camera and you would have a tripod, like what I'm using right now. The detail will still come through and you have like a digital copy already. And I guess that's what people do already, is like they just take pictures of everything anyway on their phones, and the iPhone cameras and Android cameras are like really good right now. But I think professional cameras, I did like some comparisons. In some cases the iPhone like came out really good. The camera that I was using, I don't own it, but I was just wanting to like test the difference, and the like exposure and the film quality, like aesthetic is quite nice. And if you ever have a camera and like if you just go into like Curry's, I don't know if this is every store, but you can kind of take a photo, test it, and like just see the difference like with that on your phone. Just like ask maybe before you do that. But that indicated that okay, yeah, my iPhone's pretty good, but it's got some limitations in terms of the lights and the colours sometimes don't always come through. And then my mum's work is actually a lot of watercolours, so for watercolours it's like a bit more fainter, so you'd want a film or like a professional camera to get like all the sort of RGB colours in there. Some people actually don't like certain colours to be as like you don't want a red to be as red, you kind of prefer it muted. But my focus would be to have the colours as true as possible to like the naked eye. You can always edit it later anyway, so you might as well get the photo that like the raw one like as close to like real life, and then you can edit it later. And that's why I'd want the colours to reflect like what my mum like wanted that colour to be. So the other option with the camera then is the same as the scanning. You can go to a professional photographer or get a professional photographer to come and take photos, which is really good for like a bulk set, because it's quite easy to just click once you get the settings right. And then the hard work is like maybe positioning it, and then you obviously just have to tripod and you take the photo. You don't have to worry about the texture too much, if it's going to fit in the scanner, if it's big enough, like that size problem goes away. They do obviously charge per photo or per hour, depending on how much you have, and there is like a lighting aspect of it as well. Like you'd want to definitely go in daylight, and it just takes some time to like go to this place or have someone come over and do that. Or you could borrow a camera or buy a camera yourself. I was looking at like what a good camera would be to just like even do a documentary. It's not a documentary, vlogs. But I wanted to just do this for myself and my family. I actually started vlogging like 10 years ago, and then I stopped when I became a teacher. I always wanted to get a vlog camera when I could afford to. And I was like, oh, that's a perfect reason, because I can take a photo of these artworks, and I'll just have another use for it, which is to vlog with it. However, there are so many cameras that I had to like the choice was overwhelming for me. Like I was like, oh, which one? So I looked at Nikon because my cousin Nida had a Nikon and it was really good. I think it's like an old DSLR now, and I don't think they make them anymore, which is quite like as appealing to me, because if they don't make it anymore, then I'm like I have no choice but to buy secondhand, and then I kind of feel a bit better about doing that for the environment, and it's probably going to cheaper. But then I looked and it's actually a bit more expensive sometimes because they know it's like not being made anymore. Anyway, so the other Nikons that I looked at were the new range. It's called the mirrorless range, and that's kind of like very influencer ready as well. I basically almost got it, but I thought the drawback of why I didn't is because the price tag was quite a lot, and I know that I'm going to be using my phone for a lot of like videoing, so I was like, this is going to make me feel bad every time I use my phone instead. And the second reason was because when I was thinking about taking the photos of the artwork, I read on the forums that you have to have like a really good lighting situation, and in my like house, like I don't have like a garden to like go, like you should always try and take photos outside and definitely in daylight, but I don't really have like a good setup to do that, and I don't really would want to take a whole section of a room with like a nice light and a tripod and all that. So that's why I've opted for a scanner. Then I was thinking about which scanner to use that's in a good budget range, and I finally after like hours of research spent over like weeks, I decided on an Epson V600 Perfection, like ones on Facebook Marketplace, online, etc. But there weren't any like in my area, and then I was like, I'll just see what it is brand new, which I really don't want to do because you should be able to get a good one that's in working order. And then like this was like, so I looked and I saw the price and I was like, okay, let me just keep looking on Facebook Marketplace, like eBay, whatever. And then 2 weeks later I look again on the Epson website and it says like this product is discontinued, so that they've stopped, you can't buy one anymore on the website. I don't know if it's just a UK one. And I was like, that is just a sign then that I shouldn't get it. So that was kind of like middle of the range. It was around like 300 quid. The next highest one that was like highly rated, so all these are like highly rated, so you can't get like any price point, to be honest. But for taking photos of artwork, I've read a few blogs, and there's like 3 that was at middle of the range. The next higher one would be like around £900, which is just ridiculous to me. The only difference is like the higher DPI, but like I said, the bliss point is that I would never go for that high DPI anyway, because that would just be too like the benefit of that is just not as good as the time it would cost, and the price. So then I went to my low range option, which is the Canon LIDE or LIDE 400. I actually got it for like £70 because I think they've just come out with a new one. I think this might be the new one. So that's the one that I've ended up getting, and I am really excited to use it because it is really high rated. The DPI is a bit less than the Epson V600 Perfection, but I've seen like enough proof of like all of these artists using them and small business owners that I've like used this as their standard scanner, and this quality is like really good. So I'm gonna start scanning them all before I go back and return my mum's portfolio to her. So I will be documenting that as well, and I'm really excited. And this is the scanner, and I think I said it wrong, but it's Canon Scan LIDE, that's why I can't pronounce it really well, 400. There is a 300 version, which is cheaper now, so I think it's like exactly the same really, like there's not, people have been using that until this one came out. So yeah, I'm really excited to use this, and I will be doing some upskilling on how to do this. I've already kind of watched a lot of how-to videos on this, and this is what it would look like. Maybe I should just open it.